So we'll move now to the full Fire Authority meeting. I take it, Lisa, that we're recording now, are we?
Yes, we are, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So welcome everybody. Croeso pawb. Can I extend a specific warm welcome to Councillor Charlie McAubrey, who's joining us for the first time. Croeso, Charlie. And can I also extend a welcome back, Croeso Norm, to Councillor Gareth Jones. Good to see you with us again, Gareth. So if we move on to item number 1 on the agenda, which is apologies. Lisa, have we received any apologies, please?
Yeah, we've got Councillor Carol Beard, Councillor Alan Hughes, Councillor Austin Roberts, Councillor Gareth Roberts, and Councillor Paul Rogers.
Thank you very much.
A couple of people have apologised that they might have to leave early as well.
That's fine, thank you. So moving on to item number 2, declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest from anyone, please? I can't see any hands being raised, so the answer to that is no. So moving on to number 3, notice of urgent matters. There aren't any urgent matters that need to be raised, so that doesn't apply. So we'll move on to item number 4, which is the minutes of the last meeting held on the 20th of October. So we'll take those in terms of accuracy. So starting at page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, page 5, page 6, page 7, page 8, page 9, page 10, page 11, and page 12. I can't see any hands being raised, so once again, congratulations to Lisa for her very accurate record keeping. Can I have somebody propose that we do accept those minutes as an accurate record? Thank you, Mark. Seconded, Paul, will you show that you all agree? Diolch yn fawr. So the minutes of the last meeting have been accepted and approved. Just a few things to update you on. We did mention in the minutes of the last meeting that we needed to appoint a deputy chair of the audit committee. Congratulations to Councillor Tina Claydon for putting her name forward and stepping into that role. Thank you very much, Tina. And then we also said that we needed to appoint a new EDI champion, and thanks and congratulations also to Councillor Aaron Roberts, who is now our new EDI champion after Councillor Sharon Dolman had to leave to join the executive at Conway. One other item, just to update you on, you would be aware that in the minutes of the last meeting that one of the items on the agenda was the government consultation on the reform of fire and rescue services. You will all have seen the statement subsequently put out by the Cabinet Secretary, in which it is proposed that in future it will be one member from each authority that will constitute the Fire and Rescue Authority, and a third of the membership will be made up of independent members. So in North Wales, that would mean we'd have 6 members from local authorities, and there would be 3 independent appointed members. That needs to be approved through secondary legislation by the Welsh Government. I understand that they have 40 days in which to pass that legislation. So whether or not it is passed before the Senedd elections in May, we'll have to wait and see. Okay, moving on, item number 5, the Chair's report, which is for noting. You'll have seen the quarterly report in the minutes. My thanks to my deputy, Councillor Mark Young, for so effectively covering my absence when I was away on leave for quite a while. And also my apologies, I didn't include in the report that he visited the crew at Rhyl Fire Station on Christmas Day and also the control room. Are there any questions or comments in relation to the Chair's report? I can't see any hands being raised. Paul?
Joan and I have attended several Phoenix courses chair across the county, and we enjoy going. In fact, we were at
Thank you, Chair. We're coming up for 1 year since the publication of the Crest report, so it's nice to be able to provide some information as to how we're doing on our cultural journey and the views of our people here in North Wales Fire and Rescue Service. The Crest report was compiled probably 2 years into our cultural journey, so still fairly new. What we've done is we have gone back to our colleagues and we've said, how is it for you now? So this is what we call the Fire Family Survey, Taylor Tarn. And we first undertook this survey back in 21 to get a baseline. And then we undertook it again in 23. And now we've gone out again in October 25. And each time we ask the same questions so that we can measure progress and how perceptions may have changed. In the past, we've always struggled to hear the voice of our on-call firefighters. So we made extra strenuous effort this time to get them to complete the questionnaire. And I'm delighted to say that we've had our highest response rate ever because of that. So we've had some 68% of all employees of North Wales Fire and Rescue Service complete the survey. So I think we're getting a better, a broader picture of how people feel. Overall, we've seen an improvement across the board since 2023. And staff continue to express their pride in working for North Wales Fire and Rescue Service and that the services that we provide to the public. 83% of those who responded said that they would recommend this service as a place to work. And I think that speaks volumes. You know, the fact that we have friends of people or family members that want to join this organisation show how positive people feel about it. The other improvements in areas of governance and reward, and we asked for how people would describe the culture in North Wales Fire and Rescue Service. And the top 5 words were friendly, supportive, improving, inclusive, and positive. I'd take that any day. There is still work to do. We need to continue to improve those areas that people have concerns about. And we've reported in the past about what we're doing around the promotion processes and the recruitment processes. We also need to keep on improving communication because there's still sort of doubt that we really know what's going on across the service. It takes time to build trust. So what next? Well, the actual report and the findings of the survey were reported back to the service leadership team, to middle leaders and to the Fire Family Survey working group before it was presented to all members of staff on the 9th of December. And you can see in the report that we had, again, a good turnout of people wanting to know what the survey said. And now the Fire Family Working Group will take that information, they'll do a deeper dive, and they will create an action plan so that we can continue on our cultural improvement journey. And the report also shows that we are being ably assisted by the cultural champions. Now, they're online today in case you have any questions for them. So Ellen Hughes and Tom Weston are our cultural champions. They have been enrolled since September 2025, but their original day job is in the HR department and an operational station manager. So they've been attending all our committees, as you can see in the report. They have been gathering all the evidence and information of improvement, and they have been working with us in order to use some Welsh Government funding to deliver training and support so that we can improve our culture. In conclusion, there's still lots to do, and we will continue to report to you. But I think the information that's come out of the Fire Family Survey has been very encouraging, and that we're seeing a positive move into the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. A couple of comments from myself. As you say, there's still things to do, but it's evident that we are making positive progress in this regard. And it was very encouraging to see the 68% response for the Fire Family Survey. Just for the information of members that last week, the Deputy Chair and myself did meet with FBU representatives, and the Chief and ACFO Helen MacArthur were there as well. And they recognise that positive progress is being made. There wasn't any issues raised, and they also were very complimentary of the appointment of the cultural champions. So well done, Tom and Ellen. So any comments or questions from members, please? Councillor Gareth Sandilands.
Yes, firstly, thank you ever so much to Tom and Ellen for being willing volunteers for this. It's must said that your contributions are extremely valuable. How do we feel about this being addressed, not just in the short term, but embedded long-term vision for this working group and this authority? Thank you.
Quite right. It's no good just doing the here and now. We need to sustain this into the future. So that's why we're putting structures in place that not only do we address the actions that we've put in the strategic improvement plan, but that it's part of all the committees that we work through, and that every committee has an agenda item on culture. What are we doing? How are we getting better? So it just becomes business as usual at some point. Thank you.
I can't see any other hands being raised, so there's two recommendations before you to approve. Number one, note the initial findings of the Fire Family Staff Survey, acknowledging both the positive progress made and the key areas requiring further focus and support next steps. And number two, note the ongoing programme of improvements and support the next steps outlined in this report by the culture champions. Can I have somebody to propose, please? Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Gareth. Will you show that you all approve? Diolch yn fawr. So we move on to the next item, which is the emergency cover review. And I think it's over to ACFO Ant Jones. Ant, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Yes. The purpose of this report is to provide members with an update in relation to our workings in the emergency cover review. Members will remember that in their April meeting, the authority reaffirmed its commitment to provide a more efficient and effective emergency response across the whole of North Wales, recognising the challenges of providing cover in those rural areas. Our emergency cover review task and finish group in early 2025 was replaced by a collective agreement implementation group. And that group was designed to implement the collective agreement that we were so pleased to sign with our staff, with our representative bodies, in making our whole-time duty systems more efficient and effective to give us the capacity to put whole-time firefighters in rural areas. So that collective agreement commenced at the beginning of September in 2025, where we changed the start and finish times, our 24-hour and day crude stations, and we updated various policies and procedures in how to make those systems more effective. And also we planning for a full pilot test commencing on the 1st of January this year. So between September and Christmas 25, the stations, the staff were adapting to the new ways of working, learning on how to manage those systems to make us more efficient in the future. But also we implemented our nucleus crewing model, and we put 10 whole-time firefighters in rural Gwynedd, in Dolgellau and Porthmadog. And those firefighters are there now, Monday to Friday, working with our on-call teams to make those appliances available. And I'm really what I'd really like to do is give members some early indications and really examples of how the improvements we're seeing on the basis of putting those firefighters in their areas. So, for example, since the new working arrangements went live, we have seen a notable increase in the average number of pumps available during our weekdays. So for example, in the weekday period, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. in 2025, throughout 2025, we had an average of 27 pumps per day available. Now that does change. That changes. Some days, sometimes during that 12-hour window will be in lower numbers, sometimes higher, but the average was 27. Just in the first 2 weeks of January, we're sort of getting figures in the region of 32 pumps per weekday. So really feeling a noticeable difference. I want to be clear and honest, clear with members. Clearly, that's not 32 pumps available the whole of that 12-hour period, but on an average, we're seeing that improvement. What probably the most pleasing is those crews, those team members in response, in our planning and our control teams, those team members dealing with this on a day-to-day basis, ensuring we've got that 18 pump starting position that members will be aware of telling us that they feel it's getting far easier for them to make that 18 pump starting point. They're having to use less reliance on overtime, and they are finding that they're able to make that 18 pump model work with using existing capability by moving staff that already exist. So it is, the data I'm describing is very, very early. The true pilot went live on the 1st of January this year, so it is only 2 weeks or so in. But we are seeing those green shoots of optimism. We're definitely seeing, and the teams are definitely reporting back that there is a palpable improvement. They are finding it easier to make that model work. And the data, what this pilot has led us to do is really review how we look at our monitoring and predict our monitoring of our availability, and we've got a far closer understanding now of what our daytime operational cover is across all of North Wales. And to be honest, it's probably healthier than we originally thought, which is brilliant. So the nucleus model is certainly leading us to a greater understanding of our daily availability, the challenges, and understanding our current picture. We are continuing to support staff with this change. We have received some flexible working requests, which we are working with those individual staff members on. But equally, members will be pleased to know that we're seeing our whole-time firefighters getting to start to work on that risk-critical work in Porthmadog and Dolgellau, our site-specific risk work, and also those high-risk safe and well checks that, having that whole-time resource, the added social value of having that resource in those areas is giving us. The whole-time staff are working cohesively with our on-call teams, and I myself, and I know some of the other senior leadership team members have been down to those stations, and we've felt a palpable change and a real positivity around those stations that this model is improving that rural availability, which is what it was designed to do. So whilst the pilot is still very much in its early days, I am very pleased to report we are seeing some positive early indications, not only of improvements in our rural availability, but those sort of added value of placing those whole-time firefighters in those rural areas in relation to working and developing our on-call teams, but also that risk-critical work in relation to site-specific risk prevention and protection. So members are asked if you would note that officers have continued to work with representative bodies in social partnership to develop a way forward with the emergency cover review. Note that the collective agreement pilot signed off by the Chief and the Fire Brigades Union is now fully operational from the 1st of January 2026. And note that the collective agreement is being continually monitored and reviewed, and further data will be presented on its performance. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Anton. It sounds really positive, and thank you again to you and the rest of the team for making this work. Just to confirm that once again the feedback from the FBU to Mark and myself was positive. They acknowledge yes that there are some teething problems locally, but those are being resolved. But they are very much invested in this process and bought into this process with the collective agreement. And I'm sure that the audit committee will be looking with interest for the report in end of March as to how much the overtime budget may have gone down under this new agreement. We'll have to wait and see in relation to that. Chief, did you want to come in?
Diolch. Yes, I think the presentation this morning on wildfires just shows how vital it is to make sure that we have got pumps available in rural areas. Because when an incident like this occurs, we need to be on it straight away. And that's what part of the restructuring that we wanted to do, just to ensure that we do have availability in rural areas. And it's great to see that it's progressing well.
Thank you, Chief. Any comments or questions for Ant, please? I can't see any. Oh yeah, Councillor Gareth Sandlands, Gareth.
Thank you, Cadeirydd. I'm just going to comment really and say what a tremendous transformation the union approach has made to we're now firmly in control compared with where we were 12 months ago, where there were, issues that we'd faced with all the stations being put under scrutiny on the fire review, emergency cover fire review. But now we're all together working as a team, and it's a strong and coherent voice of transparency, and feedback is welcome always. And that is a really good positive point to make. So thank you very much for all that's taken part, and hopefully we can go forward. And yes, I will be looking at the overtime commitment in future and traitor scrutiny. Thank you.
Gareth. So I can't see any of that hands been raised. You've heard the 3 recommendations that are before you. Can I have a proposer, please? Thank you, Mark. A seconder. Thank you, Ian. If you all show that you approve, diolch yn fawr. So we move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the budget setting for 2026-27. And it's Elgan Roberts, the head of finance and procurement, who's going to present this, I think. Diolch yn fawr, Elgan.
Diolch yn fawr, Cadeirydd, a bore da pawb. Heddiw dwi'n esbonio camau a wnaed i lunio gyllideb gytbwys ar gyfer 2026-27 a hefyd y sefyllfa honna ardoll. Mae heddiw'n gam allweddol gan bod anfon cytundeb am ardoll at ein awdurdodau lleol erbyn y 15fed o mis nesaf.
Our local authorities by the 15th of next month. The budget was drawn up under the leadership of the Budget Scrutiny Working Group, which has members from all local authorities. To go through every element of our expenditure and income, there were 5 meetings during the year. We also received training on capital modelling and business cases. The budget has had the support of the Audit Committee and then the Executive Panel last month. There has been no change to the levy since then, which shows that the scrutiny has been detailed and robust. The indicative budget for 2026-27 is 54.375 million. We will use 271,000 of reserves on one-off items to reduce the year's impact on the levy. As a result, the levy is 54.1 million, an average increase of 4.47%. This is better than the first draft, which showed an increase of around 6.5%. This was achieved through improvements to income, reducing salary costs and other costs through the work of the committee, and delaying a number of investment plans until 2027-28. In terms of capital expenditure, there is a total of 6.661 million in the budget. No plan will progress until a full business case has been completed and signed off. Assumptions and planning risks can be seen in Appendix 1. I won't repeat all of them, but I would like to draw your attention to uncertainty in staff costs, where a pay award has yet to be confirmed, with 3.8% currently included in the budget. In conclusion, I would like to thank members of the Budget Scrutiny Working Group's colleagues and the finance team for their detailed work throughout the year. Thank you very much.
Diolch yn fawr, Elgan, and members will see from the report that this report has already been considered by both the Audit Committee and the Executive Panel. Once again, I'd like to thank the work of the Budget Scrutiny Working Group. Gareth, I don't know if you have any comments that you'd like to make. Diolch.
Yes, I chair the Budget Scrutiny Group as the audit chair, and I would say it is a very detailed at times meeting, but it's a regular meeting that we have, and it's an open meeting and open to any questions, but it does ensure financial stability, long-term planning, and of course extreme scrutiny on any expenditure. It also worth saying that, you know, over 70% of our costs are human resources, they are people. So we cannot change that, but we are being quite conservative in the estimate for the future pay award, which is beyond our control to some extent in external powers, be it Westminster or Cardiff. But we are reassured that we are taking every precaution to ensure financial stability going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Gareth. Councillor Mark Young. Diolch, Mark.
Yeah, diolch yn fawr. Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Elgin, and your team. Good documents, easy to read. Just one question from me is, we are using reserves, 271.271 of the reserves. So I guess I'm just asking what the plan is to avoid this becoming the norm and relying on reserves to sort out our budgets, and any risks this creates moving forward, and any plans to manage the risks. Diolch yn fawr. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor. We are looking to utilise reserves only for one-off expenditure. So we will not use reserve to fund ongoing cost pressures, because that, as you just indicated, just delays the problem to future years. So as part of the budget setting process, we will go through our non-pay expenditure and capital expenditure to see what can be funded or what is one-off expenditure. And therefore, the proposal this year is to utilise the 271,000. And that is to try and keep the levy as low as possible as well, to minimise any big increase in the levy.
Diolch yn fawr. Thanks for that.
And I would have been surprised if our treasurer hadn't wanted to come in. And I see his hand is raised. Dafydd, dros ydych chi, bore da.
Bore da, Dylan. Diolch.
Good morning, Dylan. Thank you.
Both Gareth and the working group, which has been scrutinising this in several meetings. Gareth's chaired that well this year. We've gone through lots of stuff there, and they are increasingly inefficient. They're costly to maintain, and they're unable to meet the modern standards for safety, accessibility, or environmental performance. And we've detailed within the outline business case a preferred option of the purpose-built training centre at St Asaph Business Park, which will deliver realistic training environments, modern welfare facilities, and will be fully accessible, and which will align with Welsh Government priorities on decarbonisation and well-being. It's really clear that it's important I'm clear with you today to explain what I'm asking you to approve. Approval of the outline business case does not commit the authority to fully fund this project. It's a governance step that allows us to move forward to the next stage, which is the development of the full business case, where we will do that detailed design work. We will be checking the affordability of the project, and we will be seeking to gain capital funding support from Welsh Government. And this is the message which we've been clear on right the way through our engagement sessions. Now, on the subject of engagement, staff engagement has been really important for us and has been central to the process of developing our outline business case. We've undertaken workshops, we've had consultations, and these have shaped the design principles which you see within the document, and that makes sure that we will achieve and meet our operational needs and definitely support our workforce. The impact on our staff is clear. You know, it's going to be significant. We're going to have better training, reduce travel, and improve facilities that promote well-being and inclusion. So I suppose, in short, this is about
future-proofing our training capability, improving our efficiency, and delivering long-term value for money. It's also about, and we've spoken already today about culture, but it's also about creating a facility that reflects our commitment to safety, sustainability, and our culture. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. And I'm sure I speak on behalf of members when I say that, you know, how grateful we were for all the engagement sessions that you put on, which was really helpful and informative for us in terms of getting our heads around the outline business case and making decisions. Councillor Markia.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Yeah, and thanks to officers for putting on the extra session on Friday. We're busy, but yeah, we know you guys are busy, so to put that on was great. And it's one of them, Chair, and members will agree, and officers, it ticks every box, this. So I just urge everyone, I know you've spoken about engaging whoever the new minister is after the election, engaging with them, but we're all going to have 6 new Senate members in our seats where we live. We must make sure that they're on board with this, but it's an easy sell, Chair, isn't it? It ticks every box. Really exciting, and well done everyone involved. I look forward to moving this forward. Jock and Val, thank you. So no question, just a statement. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. So any questions or comments from any other members? Councillor Paul Cunningham. Paul? I think Paul is struggling to get the audio to work. Paul, I don't know if you're able to post your comment or question in the chat, if you're unable to. Oh, hang on, you're on.
Jock of Val Cadair. I too sat in on one of the sessions that they gave, and over the years, if you ask any former member of the training department who retired like myself, we had a want wish, and that want wish includes everything that we've asked for and hopefully get in the new training centre. North Wales deserves the best for its firefighters. It deserves everything that we need, and hopefully what we put forward, this business case we put forward, meets with our new government or whatever we have. But hopefully it comes forth and helps our firefighters do a better job. Although they're doing a brilliant job now, it will enhance their training and so on and so forth. So thank you very much, and thanks to everybody involved in preparing this meeting. Jock of Val Cadair.
Thank you, Paul. Councillor Gareth Sandilands. Gareth?
Yes, I thought it will be remiss to me not to say, as the member champion for this fire training centre, this is a fantastic opportunity to go forward for the future. We're looking 20, 30 years ahead of us. This is a long-term investment, and this is an investment that we're not asking individual authorities to make. We are asking the regional government of Wales to make into North Wales. And it's, you know, we are in an election scenario this May, so I would urge each and every one of you to champion this going forward, not just for you, for your party, if you may represent a party, but also for your residents. This affects each and every one of them for the next 30, 40, 50 years and beyond. So this is a moment for us to say, yes, we want to go forward as a service, and yes, we want this the best possible outcome for our residents. We have involved a lot of partners in this, and the unions are fully aware, and it is quite transparent, and we have put on extra workshops where people hadn't managed to be there. We've gone beyond what we should have initially, and we've really tried to reach out. So any questions you have today that are remaining, I would ask you to put so forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Gareth. I can't see any other hands being raised for questions or comments. So the 3 recommendations before you are: number 1, note the content of the outline business case. Number 2, approve progression to full business case development. And number 3, endorse continued engagement with Welsh Government to secure capital funding. Can I have somebody propose? Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Chris. Will you all show that you approve? Diolch yn fawr. So that takes us on to item number 11, and it's back to you, Justin, please, for the Gender Pay Gap Report for 2024-25. Diolch.
Yeah, diolch, Cadeirydd. Yes, I'm here to present this report for the year 24-25 and seek your approval for it to be published. The report is a statutory requirement under the Equality Act 2010 and provides a snapshot of pay data as of the 31st of March 2025. It measures 6 key indicators, including mean and median pay gaps, bonus gaps, and quartile distribution. The headline findings within the report are positive. The mean hourly pay gap has reduced from 9.3% in 2024 to 5.27% in 2025, which is well below the national average of 11.2%. The median hourly pay gap has also improved, down from 13.72% to 8.31%, slightly below the national average of 8.6%. Bonus pay analysis shows parity, with a median bonus gap of 0% for the 3rd consecutive year, and the mean bonus gap outpaces women at -16.48%. Within the report, workforce composition remains a key factor. We employ 887 staff, of which 22% are female. Women are well represented in control and corporate roles, but men still dominate operational roles, which attract higher pay. That said, female representation in operational roles has increased slightly to 13%, and we've seen positive movement in the middle quartiles, reflecting progression and promotion. The report also highlights our ongoing commitment to equality, diversity, and inclusion. Through our EDI strategy, we're taking proactive steps to attract and retain women, support progression into supervisory and leadership roles, and remove barriers to flexible working. And our initiatives include targeted recruitment, visibility of female role models, and our continued development of our staff networks. In summary, the gender pay gap is narrowing and the trend is positive. However, the gap will persist until we achieve a greater female representation in senior and operational roles, and our strategy is designed to address this over the coming years. Diolch, David.
Diolch, Justin. Any comments or questions in relation to the report, please? Once again, it's a very positive overview. Councillor Charlie McCorby. Charlie?
Yeah, diolch, Cadeirydd. As you say, a very generally positive report. Just interested in, you gave sort of baseline figures nationally for the hourly gap and the pay gap difference, but not just in terms of female representation at 22%. How does that sort of compare with other authorities?
I don't have the figures to hand for other authorities, but I know that anecdotally we perform well within the fire and rescue sector in terms of our ability to recruit and attract female talent to the service. But I'll certainly be able to produce some information to give you some comparatives if that would be helpful.
Yeah, just just a general thing of mine. I do like to see how we compare to other areas, because obviously if you're comparing apples with pears in some respects. But yeah, diolch for the report. I'd say very positive overall. Thank you.
I can see the Chief wants to come in, Chief.
In a way, I was echoing that. Sadly, we're probably one of the higher performing fire and rescue services, with 22% of our workforce being female. It is something that all fire and rescue services are trying to address, and I think we've been probably on this journey longer and have had more success than many, but we still have some way to go, as you can see.
Thank you, Chief. Any other questions or comments? I can't see any other hands being raised. So the recommendation to approve is that we approve the publication of the Gender Pay Gap Report 2024-25 on the services website as required by legislation. Can I have somebody to propose, please? Thank you, Charlie. Thank you, Paul. Will you show that you agree? Diolch yn fawr. That's been passed. So we move on to item number 12, which is the annual Equality, Diversity and Inclusion Performance Assessment Report. And once again, Justin, it's back to you, please. Diolch.
Diolch, Cadeirydd. Yeah, so I'll take a few moments just to summarise the report for 24-25. The report provides an overview of the progress that we've made against our 5-year EDI strategy, which was launched in 2024. The strategy focused on embedding inclusivity into our organisational culture, attracting and retaining diverse talent, delivering inclusive services to our communities, and developing effective partnerships. The headline message is that during 24-25, we've made strong progress towards our goals. Internally, we've introduced new training modules on unconscious bias, autism awareness, and challenging inappropriate behaviour, alongside monitoring and compliance with mandatory EDI learning. Our staff networks have delivered a wide range of awareness campaigns and events, and we hosted the first North Wales Fire and Rescue Service Ignite EDI conference to inspire and educate our colleagues. Recruitment processes were enhanced through positive action initiatives, resulting in increased female representation and ethnic diversity across the workforce. We also provided tailored support for neurodiverse staff and implemented reasonable adjustments to promote inclusion. Externally, we've delivered over 20,000 safe and well checks to vulnerable community members, visited 133 schools, and engaged with diverse community groups to promote fire safety and inclusion. We've strengthened our partnerships through active participation in national and regional EDI forums and began preparations for Disability Confident Level 2 re-accreditation and autism accepting status. The report also reflects work initiated in response to recommendations from the Independent Cultural Review, supporting our commitment to creating a workplace where everyone can thrive. So I guess in summary, this report demonstrates that EDI remains a core priority for the service, and the actions taken this year have delivered tangible progress. Diolch.
Diolch, Justin, and yeah, a lot of good practice examples in the report from what I can see. Any questions or comments from members, please? Mark, thank you, Mark.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Yeah, good report, and I think Councillor Sandilands mentioned before about the embedding. So it's all good work, and it's not just about compliance, it is about embedding. So do officers have any thoughts on how the authority makes sure that we do embed and we don't just comply? Thank you.
I think in terms of the report, as mentioned, in terms of recruitment, in terms of our promotion processes, we've seen significant changes in the way that we do that. We are really trying to be far more inclusive in our approach to our recruitment practices. I think the aspect around setting visible role models, which I mentioned on the previous report, is really, really important. So in terms of our engagement with the public, we're showing them what we're about, and we're showing them the people that work here and the people that represent them, and then showing them that basically North Wales Fire Service is a place that is there's opportunities for everyone to come and work here. So we're certainly trying to make sure that we embed that in the way that we engage with the public and the messages that we're sending out.
Okay, yeah, thanks, Chair, and that's right. It'll take time, but everyone's committed. So, Jochen, thank you. Good report.
Okay, I can't see any other hands being raised, so the recommendation is that we approve the publication of the annual EDI report for 2024-25 on the services website. Can I have a proposer, please? Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Paul. If you all show that you agree, diolch yn fawr. So we move on to the last item on the agenda, which is the provisional outturn for 2025-26. And I think it's over to ACFO Hannah MacArthur for this one. Diolch, Hannah.
Diolch, and for our pawb. Well, we've certainly spanned the financial years over today's meeting, and this is the final report on the agenda and brings us back into the current financial year. The purpose of the report is to provide a financial update on the revenue and capital budgets for this year, and also to provide the full year estimates based on our knowledge as at 30th of November. I'd firstly like to acknowledge the work of the finance team and also the services budget holders, as alongside the budget setting for 2026-27, also supporting the development of the business case for the proposed training centre, they've maintained the focus of oversight and control of this year's budget. In January of last year, the authority approved a net budget of 51.8 million. And this incorporated several non-recurring measures, including the use of reserves for non-recurring expenditure. Our current forecast indicates that a full year outturn will be in the order of 51.7, and that is a modest underspend of about £61,000. This reflects the impact of national pay settlements, which were ever so slightly above the budget setting estimate, project-related costs, and also a proposed transfer to reserves following a pension rebate from the local government pension scheme. Turning to the capital programme, which is funded through a mix of borrowing, reserves and grant income, this does continue to experience slippage across some of our key schemes. The year-end expenditure is forecast to be in the order of 6.3 million against a full year funding envelope of 8.7. What we anticipate is that there will be a requirement to roll over funding of about 2.8 million into the next financial year. I think it's also worthy of note that the financial uncertainties remain, particularly around workforce availability. And again, as part of the ECR programme, we've touched on overtime, sickness, temporary promotions, and they'll be carefully monitored throughout the remainder of the year. In addition to that, we have inflationary pressures within our supply chain, some delays in delivery of goods, interest rate movements and refinancing costs. All of these things will require careful monitoring, and that will be undertaken through the Services Finance and Procurement Committee. Some key messages. We are on track to deliver a balanced revenue position, and that small underspend reflects the prudent in-year financial management. Those pay pressures have been largely absorbed. Pay awards were forecast to be at 3%, and they actually resulted in an actual of 3.2. We've benefited from a pensions rebate from the local government pension scheme, and we're carefully monitoring that capital delivery. In particular, over 70% of our revenue spend relates to workforce, and that's a key area of focus for us. We do remain stable at the present time, and I'm happy to take any questions, Chair.
Yeah, Helen, any questions or comments from members, please? Dafydd, diolch, Dafydd.
Ie, gan bod na ddim cwestiynau, just i roi rhywfaint o sylw.
Since there aren't any questions, perhaps just to comment, I think that this is a very heartening report. We will all be happy to receive this report. I believe that it's a very acceptable situation. Well, there are three things, really. This sets a realistic budget, an achievable budget in the first place, and of course you have done so today for the coming year also. Secondly, monitoring by the finance team, Helen, Elgan and the wider team. And thirdly, the conscientious managers within the authority spending money in accordance with the budget set. So I would like to thank everybody who've been involved with this. This makes our work as an authority so much easier, so that we have conscientious people at the helm. And with those few words, thank you all. And I shall leave you.
Something that did catch my eye, which I'd like to ask about non-pay costs in paragraph 29, where it says third-party payments are exceeding the allocated budget by 60k, primarily due to a higher than inflation increase in the service level agreement with North Wales Police for the 2025-26 financial year. Why are the North Wales Police billing us more than the cost of inflation, and is this likely to continue? Diolch, Ellen.
Thank you, Chair. I'm going to probably answer the second question first. It is not likely to continue. It was a bit of a catch-up year. There were some backdated pay awards within the SLA. The SLA is largely predicated on the amount of time that the team spends on North Wales Fire. So there was a period of catch-up in this year. In addition to that, there were some one-off specific costs in relation to support from the team, largely around agreeing the new cleaning contract, but also some projects as well. So please take assurance, although it's an overspend in this financial year, and we will manage that for future years, certainly as part of the budget setting. We don't anticipate any future overspends.
Diolch. Any other questions or comments? I can't see any hands being raised. In that case, I refer members to the 3 recommendations that are before us. Number 1, note the projected revenue outturn position and the projected capital slippage for the 2025-26 financial year as detailed within the report. Number 2, note the risks associated with the provisional outturn and recognise that the figures forecasted in this report are prudent. And lastly, note the proposed movement to reserves of £0.548 million for the LGPS pension rebate. Can I have a proposer, please? Thank you, Gareth. Thank you, Mark. Will you all show that you approve? Diolch yn fawr. That's been overwhelmingly passed. That brings the authority meeting for today to an end. Can I thank everybody for their attendance and contributions? Diolch yn fawr iawn, pawb. Take care.
Diolch yn fawr.
Well.